Xbox community, chat room, Di-RRec Gaming, the new legal, SLIKSLAYER. Let's go.
Yep. Ladies and gentlemen, you know, last night's episode all started because, you know, I was texting and tweeting new legal here. You know, various things that were happening in the gaming community, and we just decided, hey, we're gonna speak on it, right? Then it's basically the same thing that happened this morning as well, but it was a shock to me. I'm sure it was a shock to a lot of other people. You know, after countless months of waiting, I think 9 months it's been now, right? Since the PS5 has been out, or just about. After 9 months of waiting, finally, Sony is giving users access to their SSD expansion bay. But unfortunately, like a lot of us have been fearing, myself too, been fearing that wasn't going to work out too well, and already doesn't look like it is. But confusing as a mofo. So we here to clear a couple things up. We don't have all the facts. There's still many questions left to be answered. But yo, legal, let's go in on this, bro, because this is just ridiculous right now. Long story short, everybody knows the PS5 has an expansion bay for you to put, quote unquote, a standard PC SSD, an NVMe SSD in that expansion bay to expand your hard drive space for your games and content, right? You know, and of course we know how it is with the console wars. There's always going to be the folks on one side who want to shade the competing side on how they implement certain features. When it comes to expandable storage, Microsoft went one way, Sony went another, right? And at first, Sony's way seemed pretty sensible. They did not legal, like you buy a standard drive, nothing crazy, as long as it met the performance metrics, you know, that's required in the system, right? Right. Should be all right. It should be all right, right? But even before we get into any more detail than that, let's make this incredibly clear. This is not a cheap technology. These NVMe SSDs, no matter which platform you rock, PC, Xbox, or PlayStation. We can't count Nintendo because they don't use NVMe SSDs, right? Or they support SD cards though, right? But of those three platforms, they all support NVMe. Now, Xboxes are slightly customized in that they're fitted into a type of cartridge, you know, because these are consoles, so you want it to be simple, right? And despite the fact that, you know, you do have to open up the side of your PlayStation to get to the bay and all that, I mean, besides having just a screwdriver, it shouldn't be too hard, too complicated to be 100% fair. I think that's, you know, like a fair way to look at it. Am I bugging?
You're not bugging,
right? It's a fair expectation. You know, PlayStation has done this as far back as the PS2, right?
Right.
There's always a bay in their system, and they support standard drives. Microsoft, they do it differently. The original Xbox, the hard drive was built in. It wasn't replaceable. It was locked in there. It was a part of the system. The 360, they had hard drives, but it was inside like a custom, like a cage or whatever that you connect in there. When they had the Elite, they changed the form factor in there, so it was more of a cartridge or whatever. They slip in the other way. It was still not a standard hard drive that you could reuse on something else.
Fact.
Up until later on, when, you know, USB hard drives were very popular and plentiful, and both platforms supported that, right? They did that in the 360 era. They did it last gen, and so too they continue this gen. All right, all cool. So you got your A and B. That's cool. But now, the thing about these SSDs, these NVMe SSDs, they're not cheap. This is not a cheap technology. No matter which of the three supported platforms you're talking about, the PC, the Xbox, or the PlayStation. They moved on from spinning rust, spinning iron drives, okay? With the platters that spin, with seat times and all of that. SSDs are solid state. They're chips, solid state drives. That's what SSDs means, right? That's what the acronym means. So it's a chip. There's no seek time where the head has to move to where the data is to start reading it. It's a chip. It's instant. Not only is it faster with the actual accessing of the data, or like the streaming of the data off the drive itself, but it can access it immediately and start to send it to you. So those little load times and things are gone, right? Particularly you see this in the Xbox, that dashboard is lightning fast now. They didn't change so much from what they had last generation, but you see the performance there now. It's snappy. The PS5 is similarly snappy, right? And that's all due to the SSDs. It's less about the processors that they both have in common, right? Although that does help tremendously. I don't want to downplay that, but indeed, the drives is the real thing that's really making these systems so snappy and performant, right? So now, these drives are expensive, so they can only give you a certain amount of capacity on the base system. We see the Series S has, admittedly, I'm going to say, once again, admittedly, I'm trying to be quite honest and fair here. The Series S has, admittedly, I feel a paltry, a small amount, 512, right? It could be greater, but it's a budget system, so yeah, but it supports the same SSD cards that are expensive. Hell, more than half the cost of the Series S itself, because these drives are $199 here in America, right? The Series S is $299, so that's two-thirds. That's two-thirds the cost of the system right there. So that's a tough pill to swallow. But this is new technology, and it's required. We already see the results with these drives. We see how they are helping for the load times in games, the performance in the dashboard, like I explained earlier. All of that is there. It's great, right? But they cost. They're not cheap. And so you look at what Microsoft did, and of course, the fans of the PlayStation, the competing platform, of course, as it is with the console wars, they're looking at that look, it's proprietary. It's going to cost more. PlayStation is using standard drives. Over time, it's going to be more cost effective, blah, blah, blah. But after 9 months, Stone King X with the super chat, $40. Wow, bro. Super chat power enabled. What up, New Legal and SLIKSLAYER? What's up to you, Stone King X? I see you in the streets, my brother. Thank you. You're very generous. Very generous. Thank you. But yeah, like I was saying, these drives are expensive. So, the Xbox, the Series X has 1 terabyte built in. The Series S has 512 built in. The PlayStation 5 has a really odd 825, but hey, it's an expensive technology. To me, that's a bit of a black eye, but I'll let you rock with that. Okay, it's 825 gigabytes. All right, cool. But you got that expansion slot. So the narrative of the PlayStation community has been, hey, we support standard drives, and those are going to drop over time, and the prices of those will drop over time. But it's been 9 months, and only now is this finally being enabled. Meanwhile, on the Xbox side, we're already seeing those drives drop in price. Over the past week or two in the UK in particular, it went down from 199 pounds, and I've seen it as low as 179. Now, in the past, I've also seen it. I'm sorry, I was just reading what Joseph was saying in the chat. I'm gonna read what you're saying in a second.
What happened to you, man?
No. He just yeah, I just lost my train of thought reading what he was saying. But yeah. So these drives on the Xbox side have been dropping in price in the UK and sale prices, and I've seen similar things have happened in America from time to time. Not as often, but it's happened. I know at least one person who tweeted, or I saw it in the chat, who said he got a pair of the drives for like 165 or 150 each on Newegg, or maybe it was a little more than that, maybe 165 or so. I'm not really sure, but he got a pair of them because he saw the deal, the value in that, and so he picked them up, right? And so the difference between what the Xbox uses and the PlayStation uses are twofold. One is in technology, and then two is in the form factor. Let me address the technology first, right? The NVMe tech that the PS5 supports is PCIe Gen 4, right? What's on the Xbox is Gen 3, the generation before. Nominally, it's about half the speed, raw speed of just the drive itself, right? The Xbox has it in like a custom case in the cartridge, but PlayStation, as the PlayStation fans love to say, it's a standard drive. The drives aren't made per se for PlayStations or PC. For whatever device can use an NVMe drive. And as they get more popular, they will drop in price and all of that. And it's true. That will happen over time. But for now, with the more current technology that's in the PS5 compared to the older technology that's in the Xbox, we see that these drives are still new. New model drives are still coming out for this technology, right? That the PlayStation supports. Meanwhile, the ones on the Xbox are mature. They've already been out for a while. In fact, they've already been superseded, right? So now you look at why these fanboys like to, it makes sense. You would say, hey, it's a standard drive. Over time, the drives will drop in price, and then everything will be cool. But new legal. Let me ask you a question. What is the reason I've been saying I don't want a PS5 just yet, besides the games?
Because you don't trust the model. You don't trust the manufacturing situations. You don't trust the way they have it. To us, it looks like they backtracked on a rush scheme because of some things that they found out. We've always been talking about this. As a matter of fact, I can't even leave Technoblast out of this because it actually originated with me and Technoblast. Then when I met you, we talked about it. And that's the funny thing about it was that with you were saying, okay, I'll start with me first. I made a bold prediction that even before I even knew about the SoC chip situations, right? I made a bold prediction in 2018, in early 2018. Man, it could have been mid 2017 when I said this. I think it was 2017 when I said this because the rumors were floating around that Sony was already eyeing a next generational console, right?
Right.
So I was doing my reading, and even back then, when everything was going like it was going, right? Even with AMD putting out their information, the next round was going to be Vegas and Polaris. Remember that?
Yeah. Polaris and
Vegas. All of a sudden, I found out that the Navi name, it started changing. Like things started not looking right. And let me give a big shout out to the streets, okay? Because there's a guy called X Divisions or X Divisions. My man, actually, I know him personally on Xbox. He goes by United Cast. He was really digging in and trying to figure out the phases with the nanometers. Remember, they went from, it used to be 7 nanometer, and then it had that centimeter plus. Remember that plus? and he was breaking it down. You remember if you don't know, Sick, that's fine. But he put it on Twitter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tagged me to it because he's another one that I used to talk to about this stuff, right? So it was
Mm-hmm.
like 3 of y'all really when this thing. And he was talking about, look, I think this is the one that Xbox is going to go with, right? This plus all of a sudden. Well, AMD started seeing this, man. This is no lie. This is no joke. They started seeing that people were catching on to what was going on. Now, this was supposed to be all in secret, okay? Right. This was up. Much love, future generations. There he is.
Absolutely.
Right there. He's right there. He just popped in. He knows
Yep.
I'm
future generations. It was him. Okay, cool.
He's right there. That's him. Look, man, Future, you know, I'm from the streets, bro. I'm with every last one of y'all in here. And y'all are all looking beautiful. We rep y'all. We are y'all. So here we go, right? We here. So when we were dissecting this thing, we didn't want to hold it in. And we would make calls just like me and you do. Just like me and you call and talk about this stuff. So we wanted to get it out there so people wouldn't be confused, right?
Right.
Well, right when that started happening, Sick, AMD switched on us.
Yes.
Okay. They realized people was catching on to this thing. So they stopped. Okay. My bold prediction was that Sony needs to come on out with something by 2019. If it is, it's going to be Polaris Vega type of thing, right? It's going to be something like that. But then all of a sudden, Sick, that stopped. Something happened. Okay. The only thing I can think of is the big partnership happened.
Right.
Now watch this. When that happened, and you can read about this. This is no lie. You can actually read about this. The whole production for the Vega and Polaris chips ceased to exist.
Right.
AMD stopped. And then that's when the Navi came. That's a whole other thing came out. Now watch this. Remember, it was to bring forth the future of the 7 nanometer speed, right?
Yes.
Then you remember, they said, listen, we're going to just change this thing. We're going to change the names because we see people getting confused with that plus sign. See, they said that plus sign. And me and Future were talking about it. Look at that. So they got quiet, Sick, and they came up with RDNA. See what I'm saying? RDNA became the official name of those syllables. Right. So RDNA, one, was really the 7 nanometer. All right, I'm breaking this down, right? The RDNA 2.0, right, actually became the nanometer plus. Okay? Now, the nanometer plus, remember, that stayed with Zen 2. We found out that
I got a minor emergency. I'll be right back outside. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Minor.
Well, I'll keep going.
All right.
What we found out was that when they were co-engineering this new technology, and I'm talking about Microsoft and AMD, they were experimenting with the power of this new technology, okay? And what happened was they found out that they exceeded their expectations with Zen 2. They squeezed more juice than they thought. So what ended up happening was, instead of saying, okay, we're just going to put everything in and let's just call it a day and say Zen 2, right? With all this power. Because remember, the big jump was Zen 2, not Zen 1 or Zen 3. Much love, Dirt. You did too, man. You did too. You was on me for a while, fam. And I appreciate the 5, man. It's beautiful out here. Xbox community, y'all beautiful out here, man. Really appreciate that. What happened was, gotta understand the jump, okay? And you remember they kept giving us the diagram, right? They would show us the Zen 1 to the Zen 2 to the Zen 3, right? Wow. And so Technoblast in the building, man. My brother. And so they were breaking it down. If you saw that chart, you could see vividly that the greatest leap was in Zen 2. Yes, Zen 3 is more powerful than Zen 2, but I'm gonna talk about that. But the greatest leap within the technologies between 1 and 3 was in 2. Okay, how do we know this? Because 2 had the 52% increase. Remember that. It had the 52% increase of technology in it. Okay. The first one was, it was what it was. I think it was like it started out at a 28% or something like that, somewhere around the 20% of power, of raw power from the old tech, right? And then the Zen 1 had like 20 something percent more power, but Zen 2 had 50 something percent more power. Now watch, Zen 3, I think Zen 3 was an extra 18% of power. Now, pay attention to that. They squeezed out 18 more percent of power. And hey, I don't blame them. Their hustle was valid, right? They said, well, listen, let's just make another chip, put it out there. It's 18 more percent more powerful than the Zen 2. And that's a good deal for people who want the ultimate experience. They have something that's a little bit more powerful. And at 18%, that's good to sell on the market. That's enough percentage to validate their reasons for doing it. Okay. Now that we got that all out of the way, and this is, I wanted to say that so people would understand why Microsoft and everybody basically went with Zen 2, because in Zen 2 is where the biggest gap of potential was created at. Okay. So now that we got that out of the way, I noticed in 2019 that the rumors were heavy, right? And even Sony was talking about trying to release their console in the late 2019. Remember when they were talking all that? Well, that was just chess. Sony knew they wasn't going to come out because they knew that they wasn't the big partner. They knew this, but they wasn't going to tell anybody. They wasn't going to tell anybody anything. So, of course, they try to play it out. They played the masses tip. They wanted to play the masses tip. So keep people guessing, right? So what happened was people started thinking that, oh, PlayStation is probably going to drop their console in 2020. So that's when I made my prediction. I was like, wait a minute. If they're going to drop their console in 2020, what are they going to have? RDNA 1? Because that just came out. There would have been no way, absolutely no way, if they dropped it earlier, that they would have been able to have the latest technology. And remember, Microsoft said, we're waiting for the next tech. We're waiting for the next tech. But what was the next tech? Zen 2. Because in Zen 2, the 56 to 52 more percent of power was going to stabilize their hype for the new console. It had to be Zen 2 because in Zen 2 is where they were able to put the 4K up to 128. It wouldn't have existed in 1. 1 just wasn't powerful enough for that, right? So they waited for Zen 2 to come out. So what happened, you was right, Sick, when you said it just seemed like Sony was ready to come out.
Yeah.
Right. They were ready to rush it on out. And the reason why they were rushing it on out, because like you said, but the reason why I feel they were trying to rush it out, because they honestly wanted to see, excuse me, y'all, for that noise. Just forgive me for that noise.
Oh.
The reason why I feel like Sony wanted to come out and display their console was they were wanting to do the okie doke. This is my personal opinion. They were willing to bait a free console. They were willing to throw out a first console and then come out mid-cycle or something, or just come around the corner and then improve it. Now, I got my reasons, so hear me out. When they realized that Microsoft was co-engineering, and they realized that Vega and Polaris wasn't going to be it, they panicked, because then they knew they had no way of knowing what the outcome was going to be.
Right.
They had no way of knowing.
Yeah, because they were definitely lucky last generation, so they didn't want to rely on luck this generation.
They were at the mercy of now trying to figure out what's going to happen, right? So when AMD got on stage and they announced the Zen 2 partnerships, right, they had to let Sony know. And the bad news for Sony was, listen, we deal with y'all and everything, but we've been working with Microsoft for a long, long time. Before this thing even came out, remember when the partnership of knowing, and I'm talking about within the industry, when Microsoft and AMD was going to partnership to make this next generation chip, remember the stock market of AMD went up 113%, was the biggest ever in the history of their company.
Yep.
Okay, these are all facts. So Microsoft helped AMD rise to their fullest potential ever in their company, ever. So the respect is there. So now AMD is saying, listen, Microsoft has given us this clout. They've given us resources with their engineers. We're giving them resources with our engineers. And frankly, we've made a big partnership deal where we're going to be co-engineering this future tech chip that will be customized for Xbox. This isn't going to be something where we're going to issue it out to everybody, because that's what everybody thought at first. But that didn't happen. It didn't go their way. So what they did was say, Sony, you're going to have to wait until we're done with this partnership, right? Until we're done making this thing for Xbox first. Because we have features and things that we see that are only going to be able to advance themselves with Microsoft technology. They knew this.
Possibly it's a little bit backwards with that, actually, because now we know it was Polaris, Vega, Navi, Big Navi, right? From the earliest rumors, Navi and the PS5 were always closely associated. We never got any rumors about what the Xbox was going to have, the Series X and S were going to have. But we always had rumors about what was in the PS5, right? And even we know now that those rumors were correct, at least with the 9.2 teraflops and all that other stuff, right? We know that to be true. What we didn't know at the time was that Microsoft was waiting for AMD to finish what they were doing, because they had Navi, but look at the name. It's not Vega. It's not GCN, Polaris, Vega, where each name is different. Right. It's Navi.
That's right.
Big Navi. So it's Navi, and then they made a better, more powerful Navi.
And right there, Sick, the big Navi is where Microsoft came in at.
Right.
This what threw everybody off, Sick, right?
Because nobody saw that coming.
Nobody saw that coming. This is why you saw the PlayStation fanboys. I wouldn't even call them fanboys. When I say that, I'm not saying it in a bad way. All right, I don't
like the PlayStation fans who was like hyping up, whatever the rumors and tech.
I want to make myself
right. The tech.
I want to make myself clear. When I say Sony fanboys, I'm not saying that in a disrespectful way at all. So we don't play that over here in Di-RRec Gaming. To me, I salute true PlayStation fanboys. I salute them. I find nothing wrong with liking the console that you like. Absolutely nothing wrong, okay? Because I like my Xbox. And I buy only my Xbox. So how am I going to hate on somebody that only wants to buy their PlayStation, root for their PlayStation? I'm not that type of person. I'm not hypocritical, okay? So when I say Sony fanboys, I'm talking about the ones that are rooting for Sony, legitimately. Not acting idiot. Like, call them what they are. If you want to act an idiot, then you're just an idiot. But being a fanboy of your console, I find that's cool with me. I'm good. Safe zone, right? I just want to make that clear. So the Sony fanboys, the reason they got confused off of that. This is everybody did. Exactly. This is why they never saw it coming. They didn't understand it, and they thought that they were part of this fitting as well. And we kept trying to let them know easy that, listen, y'all are going to get some of this tech, just like future generation was telling them, but y'all are going to be missing some key components, because that plus, there's a lot of things that are going into this thing with that little plus sign. So now
as we know now.
Right.
As we know now.
Plus sign, because it was causing too much confusion. And so that's when everybody was like, well, what's going on? And then boom, that's when the RDNA 2.0 came out, right? And it was all about the features. It's the features.
Pause right there, because I got to read what Mr. Kima said, because this is very important to understand. He said Microsoft has a lot of influence in the GPU and CPU technologies. Look at the insidious GPU using Microsoft APIs and technology, and this is true. And this is something I've mentioned before. Microsoft has to be aware of what NVIDIA, Intel, AMD, etc., are doing, because their hardware 99% of the time runs on Microsoft's platforms, their software platforms and APIs. And for those platforms and APIs to work with it, whatever new hardware is on the horizon, they have to be privy to that, because otherwise it's just not going to work. You know, Microsoft has to be part and parcel with that. So this is key what he's saying. So remember what I said a couple minutes ago. All the rumors were saying Navi, and we know now that those rumors are highly accurate. That, yeah, the PS5 is Navi and the Xbox is Big Navi. But they knew what was going on the whole time, because they had to know. But
that's right.
Sony didn't. So as far as they knew, like, they went to AMD, you know, just like Microsoft and Sony, just like they did last generation. They went to AMD. What you got for us? What can you offer us technology-wise that's, you know, on the horizon and such, that we could work with you on to customize for our needs, right? Microsoft knows more than Sony by default. They don't even have to know what AMD is offering Sony. In fact, that's illegal. They cannot know, right? But they know everything AMD offers because they have to by default. So they knew about Navi. And when you think about it, all the little outside things, because Sony knew what Microsoft was doing up to at a particular point, right? In the early days, no, but eventually they caught on to what was going on. But Microsoft would have always known what AMD had. So when they heard that Sony was going with Navi, they already knew they won. They already knew that they were going to be ahead tech-wise. So this is why I always believed, and a lot of people did, that the PS5 was supposed to come out a year earlier. And I maintained this, and I said that last night, that when they found out what was really going on, then they panicked and overclocked the system and all these things. And this is how I guess we can take it right back to this whole SSD situation. Like I've told y'all a million times, they panicked. So they had to overclock their system. Half those chips didn't pass muster. Their cooling is half-assed. That's where Sony really, really, really messed up, right? They had already lost because they picked Navi and didn't wait for the tech that's in Big Navi. That's one thing, but they couldn't have known how far Microsoft was willing to go. That's not on them to have not predicted that, because they couldn't have.
Now, hold on real quick. I want to represent the super chats. All right.
Yes.
I want to represent the super chats. Stone King X, super chat power enable. What's up, New Legal and SLIKSLAYER? Now this one's funny, man. We got one that's funny. Okay. Dirt Griggity comes in. Finally got that super chat popping. Nice, bro. I would have donated more, but I have to save for my 4 terabyte PlayStation 5 SSD and a screwdriver for installation.
Yo, homie, I got a spare electric screwdriver still in the packaging that I found in my closet a couple days ago. If you need it, man, I'll send it to you.
Technoblast on the 1s and 2s. You guys need to have some blue Kool-Aid. That green drink you guys are having are warping your minds. PlayStation 5 wins again. Woo! Fantastic time for the PlayStation 5 and its 500 million fan base. Good stuff, y'all, man. Good stuff. But no, you're right. Look, Sick.
Where Sony messed up was the cooling. Like,
Sick.
They couldn't know what Microsoft had, but they messed up with the cooling, and that made it worse.
Sick. I don't think nobody is going to disagree with what you have to say, because we went over this numerous of times, right?
Right.
The thing that I want people to understand is the future of technology was not given to Sony because, like Joseph said, AMD was not making a market deal with Sony for as far as future technology, because Sony does not have future technology capabilities.
Right.
It's not in position, and that's not a knock. That's just facts.
Yeah.
So Sony has to, this is why we always said this, when we would say things like, Sony's going to follow the leader. All right. I want to make clear so people don't think that we were just saying this stuff. Now you're seeing this stuff, and this is what we were meaning. When this finally has happened, Now you can understand what we were talking about. Okay. Sony has to wait for things to unravel before they can make decisions because they are a customer in this technology field. Now, if you're talking semiconductors and that type of stuff, no, they're leaders in that. But when you're talking about technology within computer systems, software engineering, they're not there. Okay.
Remember, they sold Bio. They don't make computers anymore.
That's exactly right. So yeah, because you saw what ended up happening with that, right? So so now by default, they cannot have the power. They cannot have the power that Microsoft has. That just can't happen. So they're gonna be under Microsoft. They're not even gonna be level with them. They're gonna be underneath them because Microsoft and AMD are directing this forward moving of technology. One can't go without the other.
But the problem was Sony made it worse when they half-assed the cooling. It's not so much about their overclocking situation; it was their cooling situation. That was really bad.
Because it's kind of like what you said, and this is just my gut feeling. And like I said, I'm not saying that what I'm saying is correct. All right,
right? Because we really can't know 100%.
Right, we wasn't there, but I'm going off of what we're seeing now, right?
Right. There's too many things that fit too perfectly for it to be wrong.
Exactly.
At least in our mind.
Exactly. You look at, we need to hurry up and come out because we need to look like we're in direct competition with Microsoft. We need to make a strong stance. We need to make a strong appearance instead of being humble and say, you know what? Let Microsoft come on out. We need to come in and I said this. I said Sony's PlayStation 5 does not, and this is the prediction I said, Sick, before I even knew you. Mr. Kima and a few more know I made this prediction. I said that the PlayStation 5 doesn't need to come out until late 2021, talking about this fall or winter, or early 2022. That's what I said. People were
this year or next, folks.
Right.
Not last year when it came out. This year or next. Like the PS5 should not be out yet.
It should.
Basically what you're saying.
Of course. Because look, this is why when the situation started happening in the manufacturers, right? And Bloomberg made that report. This is why I went right to Tech and said, Tech, I'm telling you something right now. This is
Fire Boss, Iron Mike. What's up, fellas?
What's up, y'all? I told Tech this is going to be bad, and I want you right with me. Ride with me. Come walk with me. Talk with me. And you're going to see for yourself. And then when Tech started seeing it, he was like, dude, you're right. He was like, what if they decide to come on out with this console? So I said, Tech, make a bold prediction. I got your back. I was telling Tech all of this all along. So that's why Tech said what he said, because I had his back. I was like, you make that statement, because if I'm doing it, everybody's going to think I'm just being a hater. So watch how this ends up happening. And then what ended up happening, man? They put that console out day one, and what happened? It blew up. It didn't even work. They were getting green screens. The YouTubers, it was hilarious because they were ready to fire it up and talk their stuff.
It was all over Twitter. Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Right. It was a ridiculous day. So what was their first backup defense, right? The Sony Defense Protective Force came out and they said, yo, listen, this is just day one issues, right?
The SDF.
They said it. All consoles have day one issues. But what did I say on my Twitter? I'm letting everybody know that this is not a day one situation. All right. This report already has happened. If you want to ignore this report, if you think that Bloomberg is an unreliable source, you got them messed up. Sony had to come on Twitter and lie to y'all. But what's going to end up happening is y'all are going to see in the future that this console is going to get worse and worse. So what happened, Sick? By December, what happened? We were still getting people with issues. I looked at Tech and I said, how much longer are they going to keep calling this a day one? It's December.
Yeah.
Where are we today, Tech? Where are we today, Sick?
The end of July. It's about to be August.
That's right. Sick. What just happened today? We just got told what? SSDs are being issued out, right?
Or at least the expansion bay is finally going to be enabled.
Exactly. Now, Sick, what's funny about this? What's cracking me up and what's crazy about this whole situation is it tells me one thing. Sony now I know what you look like when you can't cover up no more.
Yeah.
That's the first thing.
Mm-hmm.
Second thing, Sony, you're desperate to figure out something. Like you said, Sick, they're throwing things on the wall, just hoping something to stick, right?
Yep.
So here they are. Now they're letting their fan base know that they can get an SSDs, right? And
Mm-hmm.
but here's the problem, Sick. Who in the hell buys something not knowing if it's gonna work? Who does that?
Ha.
Who
Okay.
does that?
Okay. So
I got
before
a
we get
question
into all
for
of
you.
that,
So
okay.
I got the question. Here's my question. Here's my first question for you.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a situation, right, where
Mm-hmm.
you think that you can make something compatible, there's no other way of knowing unless you buy it and open up that slot and put it in. Am I right? That's the only way they're gonna know if that SSD card works for them.
It's called the scientific method. You should have learned that in the 5th grade.
Damn.
It's not
Also,
earlier.
also Sick. This I want everybody to understand that this isn't even a guaranteed situation, and this is a beta. Damn, this is a beta test. A beta test. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
This
this is a beta test. Very literally, it's a beta test.
I
That's what
was
they
tripping
call it.
on that word because I couldn't even believe it when I was reading it.
Yeah.
I was literally reading it, y'all, and tripping at the same time.
Okay, pause for a second there. See, this is how the whole conversation
Sick.
started, though. That's how the whole conversation started, though, right? Like, I texted you and called you this morning, showing you all this stuff. We're like, wow.
Fact. So what you're really telling me, Sick, is that they're actually doing a beta test.
Yeah.
They want them to buy these SSDs and test them? Are you
Yeah.
serious, bro?
Yeah. Yeah. Because here's the thing about it. See, and this is what I was going to say in the beginning, but it's a good thing that you went through all of this and then we come back to it because now because we established everything now, right? That an SSD, see, the difference between what Microsoft and Sony are doing are two different things. Remember, this is the console market. As much as I always say, Microsoft and Xbox is bringing PC, not so much the complexity, but the advantages and the features that were exclusive to the PC, to the console realm. At the same time, you want it to be simple. It's not, see, on PC, if you have a game, you get all the options in the menu to adjust your graphics. You turn down the resolution and all types of features and turn down your texture resolution, all of that. You can't do that on console. So what do you get? You get performance mode and resolution mode. Or if you have a really powerful system like the Series X, you get both in one, right? Depending on the game. It doesn't always work that way even on the Series X because it's a closed system, right? It's a set system with a set amount of performance and every system is the same, right? But consoles are simple. So you have to take that complex technology and whittle it down or simplify how you use it for the market that you're in. And in the console market, you need it to be simple. So what did Microsoft do? They took standard short size SSDs, the same size that's going to be in the Steam Deck, the 2230, right? The short ones, right? And in fact, if you ever see the picture of the Xbox Series X or S motherboard, you'll see that it's that same size drive in the connector. And I've mentioned this before. It will be easily replaceable if it fails, right? On Sony, it's soldered chips on the board, right? So what they did was they took that, they put in a compact flash fast cartridge, okay? If you're into cameras and stuff, if you're a high-level photographer, you know what those are. They put those in basically an adapter with a heat sink and the heat spreader what you call thermal paste, right? And so when you plug in the cartridge, it's touching the heat sink that's inside the Xbox to drain away that heat. But it's still simple. It's just a cartridge. Hot swappable. When the Xbox is on, even if you have a bunch of games and stuff on your little cartridge, you plug it in, and if you happen to be looking at your games and apps menu, all of a sudden, all the games and apps that you have on your drive will all of a sudden pop up in less than a second, right? Contrast to what Sony did. And this is why I said in the beginning, I don't want to shade how Sony planned to execute. They absolutely fumbled, but their plan was solid and actually a good plan to go with, right? Their plan was to have standard drives that anybody can buy at any Best Buy or Micro Center or wherever you get your PC hardware, right? Your standard SSD, as long as it met the spec, performance-wise, it should, and the keyword is should, be fine. But as we explained with all the drama behind the development of these systems and how Sony had to panic when they found out the cards that Microsoft were really holding, then they had to overclock that system. This is why I keep saying it's not what they planned to do that they fumbled at. It was the cooling situation that they fumbled at. Ridiculously so. Because now the main issue, besides whatever software issue that they were having or whatever, is that these SSDs run hot. And they didn't put enough room for the slot to cool down the drive. So if you buy an SSD for your PS5, let's just say it fits the spec and all these other things, right? It must have a heat sink on it. You do not want to put in an SSD, an NVMe SSD into the PS5 if it doesn't have a heat sink. The system runs hot enough as it is. We already see how it's acting, how they had to put out a firmware update with the fan speed.
Sick, but right there, why in the heck would they even initiate the go-ahead to put SSDs inside the PlayStation 5 and not have heat sinks to them? I want you to break down the importance of having a heat sink, but first, they're doing this, bro, from a firmware situation. Now, this is too familiar. The word firmware is too familiar when we're talking about Sony. You remember their HDR? You remember they told them that they were going to get HDR by way of firmware. This is no lie. After they came off stage, off their conference, I think that was one of their second to the last conference they ever had, because it was the introduction of the PlayStation 4 Pro, remember?
Yes.
And people were talking about, well, you don't get HDR by way of firmware. It doesn't work like that. It has to be implemented. Like, you don't just send it over like that. And then it goes through all your games. And then what was the first? This is what I'm trying to say to y'all. When y'all just think we're PlayStation haters, man, y'all just think that we're just, like we're some bad guys. Like, I don't look at the end of the day, I really don't care what you think about me as a gamer, because there's nowhere that I've been on God's green earth that I'm not associated to gaming. Somebody knows that about me. I don't hide that. That's who I've been since my father introduced me to gaming back when I was a little kid. I mean, I've been performing since '83, dude. I look at gaming as performing. I was on that stage, fam, hitting those buttons with the joystick at an early age, playing against soldiers of the United States of America, bro. Like, talk about pressure. Come on, bro. I laugh at that. There's no pressure playing video games, right? It's all about the fun factor and the competition for me, right? So the fact that I want people to understand this. I'm here along with SLIKSLAYER and the other people that guest up on Di-RRec Gaming and make it their home, because I got respect for them, because they are the ones that are actually speaking that language. There's a language in gaming, and it goes as far back all the way through a whole lot of people. And like I said, there's one person in this gaming community that I've never seen beat as far as the depth of their gaming knowledge other than Hebot. Y'all can think what y'all want to think about Hebot. Hebot's not a perfect person, okay? But nobody is. But what I get sick and tired of is the gaming community not taking care of each other. We're a big family. So when you have a big family, you're going to have different personalities. You're going to have people you may not get along with. But you can't hate them. You don't hate them. and you don't knock them down and not allow them to redeem themselves, they're part of this community. All right. And I'm using him as an excuse because I've seen some things that are not fair with him. But I've literally sat down and talked with this guy. And when you're talking about depth, I've yet to meet anybody with that much depth. And this dude goes back to the beginnings.
Oh, yes.
He goes back to the beginnings. You can actually learn something from him when you slow him down. All right. So he's an example that I'm talking about because there's a lot of people, not just him, I just used him, but there's a lot of people in these gaming streets that are very knowledgeable and have a lot to bring to the table, but you'll never know because you don't broaden your horizons. Let me tell y'all something. I've been halfway around God's green earth. My dad was in the Air Force. So I've seen a lot of things in my life, starting in my youth. Not, you know, I was blessed to get an early retirement because the things that I've seen, it takes people to work all their life. Then in their 60s, they go travel the world. All right. But I've been blessed to already have done that. So hopefully I can do it twice. A lot of people don't get 2 times to do that. Right. So when I'm talking about the stuff that goes on with PlayStation, I want everybody to know I don't hate the console. I hate the way Sony deals with the console.
Yes.
Because this is the stuff when Sony can't no longer hide their situations. This is how they act.
Yes.
We see them. What was
mistake
the first
after
thing
mistake
that happened,
after mistake, and then instead they double down. Right.
Right. The first thing that messed them up was right after that conference, right? And they lied about the firmware. What happened, Sig? What told the truth about Sony? The TV situations.
Yes.
I remember because it was Stone King. Stone King was like, yo, because I think he had bought a Samsung TV or something, right?
Okay. Yeah, Samsung was one of the early leaders in the HDR, TV realm. Lemon had a TV back then that was, yes.
Right. He was talking about how he put up an article, I remember back in the day, and he was talking about how LG couldn't perform the PlayStation 4 Pro, Samsung couldn't. I mean, you can look this stuff up. Vizio, I put it like this.
I got an earlier example. I got an early example from the generation before with the PS3.
Okay. Bring this up after I finish.
All right.
Bring it up. Don't forget it. Remember, all the TVs outside of Sony TVs could not play. Could not play the Pro right. And this was off the bat. Now, I want to ask y'all something. When has that ever happened in the gaming? When has that ever happened in gaming history? When you bought a console and it wouldn't even work on the TV that you got.
It happened the generation before. It happened the generation before. And I'm going to give you the exact example. With the PS3, remember, it was the first HDMI console because remember, the PS3 had an HDMI before the 360 because the 360 had come out that winter before and they didn't support HDMI until the Elite came out. But what happened was I had a Westinghouse TV back then in 06, right? This was one of the first affordable 1080p TVs. When nobody even knew what 1080p was, this TV had it, right? And this TV could not be updated by the layman. If you need to have a software update on your TV because something was wrong with it, a technician had to come out, okay? It had a USB port on it that was blocked off. Only the technician could get to it, right? But you can Google this now from back in the day in 2006. Early on, the PS3 was having issues with the Westinghouse TV. I know because I had a PS3 that spring, like a month or two after it was released, and I had the TV before then, right? Like a couple months before that. And the PlayStation 3 had issues with the TV, and Sony blamed Westinghouse. Westinghouse was like, no, it's Sony, right? And the proof of it is that it was really Sony. One day, Sony updated the PlayStation and the problem went away. The TV, until I gave it away, until it broke last year, and I bought this TV in 2006, It was on firmware 1.10. It was never updated. The USB port that the technician would have used to update it was blocked by a piece of metal. It never got updated. The PlayStation got updated and fixed it. Sony that's how they do. It's never their fault. They blame someone else and say they're not doing it right. And then all along in the background, they're working out their problem because, of course, it was their problem all along. They fix it, put out an update, and nobody talks about it. It's not in the press. It's not in nothing. But Google it. Westinghouse, PS3, Sony, and there were glitches. You couldn't update those TVs. You could only update the PlayStation. The PlayStation got updated. All of a sudden, the problem went away. And that's the same thing that Legal is talking about with the PS4 Pro when they introduced HDR to gaming, and early on, it wasn't working out too well. And here's the thing about it. It's new. That's kind of expected. But when you're sitting there pointing fingers all day like you're 5 years old, you get no respect from the dudes who are watching and paying attention, like myself and Legal, and many of you in the chat, Future Generations, and many other people, Stone King X. You guys, we watch and we've learned for a long time, so we're not going to fall for the okie doke tricks. We've seen it happen. History repeats itself. So happened with the PS3, happened with the PS4 Pro, and with these SSDs, it's the same thing. Legal, it's the same thing.
I'm glad you brought that back up, man. That was good history, and because I want people to understand that this is why we like we are with Sony. They have a paper trail, and Sick just proved to me that. I didn't know that about the PlayStation 3. I didn't know that part, so I learned something tonight. But I did pay attention to the last generation, and what's crazy about it is goes back to what I'm saying. They prove that they hide a lot of BS, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this time, Sick was making this so vivid and apparent, right? Is the fact that they can't hide from this anymore. It's been almost 9 months, right?
Everybody knew it.
And they don't have an answer now. So now it's like, because they see it on Twitter, they're getting annoyed because the Xbox community is just like, we're saying, where's your SSD expansion slot at? Where is it? Where's your expansion at? Where's your expansion at? Why get a new next gen console? Emmanuel A1 is nailing it. Where's your VRR? Look,
their TVs don't even have it.
This is crazy. You can't look. Okay, I want to give a huge shout out to the Xbox community for, I don't know if y'all were listening to me or not, but if y'all were, and some of y'all were brave enough to point out that, because I was saying this in the beginning, I was saying things like this. I don't know why they want to insist on trying to put the PlayStation 5 on an OLED TV. Why? My question was, why are you doing that? Another question, why do you mention PlayStation 5 as a next-gen console and have the Xbox Series S and X in the same sentence? Why are you doing that? See, the problem is this, Sick. The industry is willing to lie for Sony. See, that's our problem. We as Xbox fans, we don't have an industry to lie for us or to do, but that's childish. We don't want it. See, we don't want an industry lying for us, right?
We want the facts.
Right. We are more educated, grounded, more structural community of gamers. We don't play that dumb stuff, and we don't like that weak crap, right? We don't like that as a community. So the PlayStation fans, they need IGNs and GameSpots and Metacritics and things like that. And I'm using them as excuses, but IGN is unexcusable. It is what it is with them. We're not even gonna sit there and act like Digital Foundry or IGN don't play that role. They play that Peter Pan role. We got you. We understand y'all. Metacritic does too. Epic does too. See, all these things that were done in the dark are coming out to light. It's okay now to call them out for who they are. Y'all don't have to feel bad anymore because they've been caught so many times. They can't okie doke us no more. This is why you're seeing things change. Why you're starting to see them smarten up. Because for the first time in our history, they're running into that brick wall.
1440p.
That's right. And the only reason why they're running into that brick wall, I've been waiting for 20 years for this, y'all. Been waiting. Now I'm finally vindicated as an Xbox gamer. We can go to sleep now. We are justified because Microsoft started to see it for themselves. And listen, we got a master leader, right? But Phil Killer has even toned it down on all this kumbaya stuff because he had to see that it's not working. You remember when he came in, he had a good attitude, and he still does. I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is he had this attitude of gamers unite. He didn't see that. He didn't understand. His first focus, and I'm keeping it real. His first focus to me seemed like he was all about let's just make a platform. If we can share all our games, then that's great because that's what gaming should be all about.
Yep.
My thing was this, man, has Phil been disconnected? Because hasn't he understood this whole situation? They don't like
He was
us.
more connected than anyone. He was more connected than anyone.
Right. But then I had to understand, well, you know what? He's in the company and he's not on the social medias like us. He's not in the underground like us. He may not see what we see. Plus, you got to understand that he isn't making enemies in the industry. He knows these devs and things like that. So he's not attacking devs and going around having beefs with people. That's not what he does. So it took him a while. But I think the first time it opened him up was when he tried to put out the crossplay. And you remember he was kind of making some Xbox fans mad because we were like, what are you doing?
There's some legendary beefs over that one. Oh, one legendary beef.
Exactly. People started questioning Phil like, what is he doing? And you remember he would talk about exclusives and things like that, and people were taking them out of context with that, right?
Purposefully, of course.
Of course they would. So when he finally saw that Jim Ryan would come out publicly, because I remember he was doing an interview, and they asked him about it, about the comment. And Phil Spencer said, you know, I could get in trouble for saying this because, you know, this is not in the Microsoft way of doing things. But he says, I'm going to go out on a limb on this one. Okay, so I'm going to take this one. If I get in trouble, we get in trouble. But Phil saw himself as a gamer.
Yeah.
So I'm about to strip my title and talk as a gamer. See, that's the beautiful thing about Phil. He can do that. And he said, I'm appalled. Like, I'm literally appalled that anybody who has made it to sit high in these seats of the gaming community and not want to demonstrate versatility to as many gamers as possible, to look down on that. He says, I don't understand that, and that's not good for gaming. Remember he said that?
Mm-hmm.
So he directly made a comment back to Jim Ryan. Then what did Jim Ryan do? He denied, he didn't deny, he denounced EA access. He denounced crossplay. So basically, what Ryan was doing, Mr. Jim Ryan was doing, he is of the old guard. And
he tried to gatekeep, basically.
When you see Jim Ryan, he's the hand of the old guard of the PlayStation rulership. He's the hand, meaning, what do you mean, legal? He's the puppet. He gets the orders. And he takes the bait. Y'all are attacking the wrong person. He's just the messenger. He's doing his job. He's the one you see, but he's not the one that makes the calls. All right? Jim Ryan, he's going to stand with the old guard. He's not a gamer. He's a businessman. So Sony's the commandments, right? Sony's laws is this. You do Sony and Sony only. I want to make that clear. You do Sony and Sony only. So this is why you see the Kool-Aid mentality with their community, because they've been indoctrinated, Six Slayer, to believe that anything that's not an exclusive isn't a good game.
Yeah.
Okay? And if it is a game that comes out on PlayStation, it has to be in the 90s or it's not worth it. You know, it's not worth it. And
I'm gonna give you a backwards version. Just one more example, but it's kind of backwards, right? And this is something that they created in their own minds that Sony did not do, but they kind of influenced in. It's bringing their games to PC, and this is just one example. Bringing their games to PC, right? Because when Microsoft was doing it, it was a problem. But when Sony starts doing it, now it's seen as a loss. Not because Sony is doing it, right? Because it makes sense. It was like that narrative they were trying to start yesterday about Nixus, up until Jim Ryan came out and he announced why they bought Nixus. And it was the straight up thing that we all knew, but the PlayStation fanboys were trying to start a narrative about, to try to spin it before the truth came out, right? But that's what Sony does. So now they do it on their own without the influence of Sony. And now it's to such a degree that Sony isn't even lying about anything or even doing anything that would even be seen as wrong in any other light. But because they keep running their mouths, now it's seen as a bad thing. They bought Nixus, a great company and development house who are expert at porting games to PC. Now it's a massive L on Sony's face because they let their fanboys run their mouth too much. Even though all this will do is put money in Sony's pocket and money in the pockets of the PlayStation division. That's all that move is going to do. Nothing but make them profit. But it's seen as a bad thing because the fanboys keep running their mouths. But the two previous examples you give was Sony doing that. Now they've done it for so long, these fanboys have been brought up under it. That's all they know. They don't even know what they're talking about when they're talking about anything. This is why when D-Bash put his tweet up earlier yesterday, I tweeted response to him that he always knew what he was talking about, much like myself or anybody else, like Future Generation and Stone King X and many other names, right? Because we've been paying attention the whole time. These guys weren't, and it goes to show. Even when it's something that should be seen as good, it's seen as an L because you ran your mouth so much. It's ironic how that turned out. It truly is.
But Sick, why would they make a situation where the heat sinks aren't in there? Sick.
That I don't understand.
That's of the heat sink.
Okay.
And why that doesn't even make sense, fam. Like, this is crazy, man.
You're right.
Why don't they just come out? We know why they just didn't come out and say, listen, we're working on getting y'all an SSD expansion, right? But we want to make sure that we testing everything. And you know what, man? Forget it. Let's just keep it 1,000.
All right.
Sony ain't gonna do that because Sony has an ego problem. The fact if Sony did something like that, that's gonna reveal that they did not have this thing together. So when they lied and said they did, see, that's the problem. When Bloomberg went to Twitter with it, Sony responded back on Twitter that nothing's going to be wrong with these consoles and they're going to be ready day one. That was a lie. Why doesn't the PlayStation community hold Sony accountable? That's my issue.
They drink the Kool-Aid. That's what it is.
You would love for me to be a part of your community. Of course y'all would. Y'all would love for a person like the new legal go buy a PlayStation console and talk about, oh, look how great this game looks. Of course y'all would. But the problem is I can't do it because I'm not fake enough to be like y'all. I'm not dumb enough to sip the Kool-Aid, and I'm not stupid enough to act silly like y'all do on social media. So I can't get down like that.
And to what end? Like, what's the purpose of them even doing all these clown things? You don't get money from it. Clout don't mean crap because this is crap. This is clout over video games. There's no value in that. Like,
facts, because
what for?
Right, because you deserve to get clowned. You deserve to get all this smoke. But yet and still, the Xbox community is too
corporate slaves,
too mature to just
good one, Future. Good
just
one.
disintegrate y'all. Because
Yeah.
right now, if I've never seen a community look so pathetic, because the joke's on all of y'all. And you and look, some of you Xbox people, y'all need to stop it. See, I knew y'all would stop talking about PlayStation 5 once it got too heavy out here. I understand y'all want to act like y'all these gamers out here because you're letting casuals. This is another funny thing. We got casuals out here determining who's a gamer now.
Right.
So you have to have multiple consoles now in order to be a gamer, says the casual. Says the casual shit. And so these
the irony.
See, it's hard. And I'm saying it, bro. Direct gaming. I'm from the streets. You don't have to like me, YouTuber. I'm talking to you, YouTuber. I'm not you. No, I'm not you, YouTuber. See, you, YouTuber, you pander the feelings.
Yeah.
And you, YouTuber, you know that it's hard to stay solidified and concrete your feet into the Xbox community. You know why? Because there's no hype over here. There's no media attention over here. There's no fiascos and parades over here. Right? It's a gaming community. We don't have the media backing us up with all this soap opera stuff, the Young and the Restless and All My Children stuff. All right? So when y'all realize being over here on the Xbox streets and standing up for the Xbox didn't make you look right because you fell victim to this, oh, he's just a fanboy. So in your mind, you figured, well, I need to switch it up. I don't want people to know I'm a fanboy. Some of y'all sucker out. You know, some of y'all stay on y'all's knees. Some of y'all go on the tables for other people. But that ain't happening here. We are who we are, and we are who we say we are. All right? You ain't gotta like me. You just mad because I tell it how it is, and you tell it how it might be. That's the reason you mad over here. But I'm not a sucker, dog, and I don't move like such. I've never been a coward, and I'm not going to do that because I look at people face value, and that face value is we're all the same. The platform doesn't make me feel better or make me think I'm better than anybody out here. We're human beings. We're human beings. And if you YouTuber, you want this to be your day job, okay. Okay, we get it. You want to be a YouTube celebrity. All right, cool. All right. So just like anybody else that seeks fame, you got to sell your soul a little bit. It costs you something. You know what I'm saying? But see, hey, this is just gaming talk to me. This is just, you see how long it took for me to put up the super chat. There's people right here tonight that have already exposed me for that. It's about time, legal, because I never looked at the people out here for that. We didn't build direct gaming to take from the people. That's always been in my heart. It was never about that. It was
we
always
spent money to be here. We didn't ask for money. We spent money to do this. We have mics and all these things and internet. We spent our own money to be here to show you and talk to you about gaming, to speak with you and be a community.
The raw passion. But then I had to start understanding. I was listening to Techno Blast. I would hear from Dirt and other people. It was other people. And they'd be like, legal, man, get the super chat up. Because the super chat isn't that you want money from people. The super chat is there to reward you of all your hard work that you've done. And there's some people out here with just generous hearts that just want to do things for you, man. That's what the super chat was. So I always had it the wrong way because I didn't know. I didn't understand. And I was always looking at it like, yo, I don't take from where I'm from. You know, I felt like that. That's how I looked at it. And I
Yo,
was
homie, perfect example. Shout out to our boy 100. Xbox Has No Games podcast. You know what he does now? He's been doing it for the past month or so. This is the second month he's doing it. There's a pot. All your super chats, okay? Because he didn't have no super chat on either. Because he too does it for the love. But what does he do? He's got a super chat back on now. You know what he does? It's a pot. And at the end of that month, whoever wins the pot, we spend that money. Oh, well, he spends that money on you, whoever it is that wins, because it's about it's not about me, it's about we, as he loves to repeat. What was it, Livewire, or was it Triple Cup Chuck? I want to say it was Triple Cup Chuck, because I want to get this right, and it's the flat truth. We're not here for money. I have a day job. I have an LG C10 and a Series X day one with the expansion card.
Right.
And I'm not saying that to brag. I worked my ass off to make sure I had that money on deck for day one. Exactly. To have it day one, because I'm hardcore. I'm here because I love it, not because I want this for money. I always say I'm out here to be Patrice O'Neal, not Chris Rock. Okay?
That's right.
If you don't know who Patrice O'Neal is, look him up. Look him up.
I mean, people, like I said, man, you may think people ain't doing things, but I'll use Technoblast for example. Technoblast is known over there at ESPORTS Stadium, bro. He's over there, man. And you know what I'm saying? I'm telling you. And I'm going to be over there with him. You know what I'm saying? He been putting his work over there. I mean, and this is within our community. You know, people think that you got to, I'm just going to say it like this. People think that you got to walk the road they walk. I don't know where that came from, but I don't walk on nobody's roads. You know what I'm saying? People who are successful, we don't hate on them. They're just not important to us. All right? They're just not important to us. We don't hate on them, because you let people who are successful, you let them be successful. Let them be successful. There's nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? Salute it and go about your business. But I'm not going to be on four legs, bro, for nobody. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got people out here that like to be on four legs, man. We're human beings. We're men over here. And y'all know who y'all are. We ain't got to call no names out.
No.
You know who y'all are. But we come here to drop these facts. SLIKSLAYER wanted to come in here and talk this stuff because he says to me, yo, Legal, there's not a lot of people out here that's willing to break things down for the people.
Yeah.
We're knowledgeable gamers, so we're gonna stick to that. We're not gonna just come in here and waste time on the shows and give you a bunch of emptiness. We want stuff that's gonna stick to your bones, man. We're providing man out here in these streets. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so we're not. I want to make this clear again. We're not PlayStation haters. You can feel that way. The only problem is we're just not suckers for it, man. We're not suckers for it. And now I'm not mad, Technoblast. I'm not mad, fam.
But you know he's joking. He's joking his ass off as he does.
We're not mad. You know what I'm saying? It's just I'm tired of people misconstruing people. You know?
Yeah, it's foolish. I don't even understand why people can't just say facts straight. You know, it's countless times on whatever podcast I'm on, GRG, Dragon's Den, or if I'm guesting, elsewhere, I see a lot of flat truth, just flat. And sometimes I have inflection and tone in my voice. I get that aspect, but I'm giving flat truth, and people like, oh, I'm setting shade. It's not my fault. The truth is so ridiculous in a given situation that it sounds like shade. It's not my fault that Sony screwed up so bad, not with the design of their PlayStation in terms of performance or features, which they did. Put that aside. But that they didn't even get the cooling right. And when they saw that things weren't going right, instead of pausing for a second, addressing the issues, and fixing it before it comes out so it could not blow up in their face, they doubled down with bad choices. And this is what you saw this morning with this SSD. 9 months after the system comes out, to even use this expansion slot, it's in beta. Remember when they promised us there would be a certified list of SSDs?
Remember that?
You know where they're going to get that list from? All of you suckers who beta tested for them.
There you go.
That's what they got you doing. If you're a PlayStation fan, don't do it. If you hate me because I'm an Xbox fan, don't do it for your own benefit.
That's one thing.
Don't do it.
There you go.
Do not do it. If your system, because if your system fails, oh my God.
Fans, but don't be a sucker. Like, you got to understand when to separate the two. You can hate Xbox fans, but don't you play yourself. Don't be a sucker. Like, this is crazy, man. Y'all going to show, this is y'all's moment, PlayStation fans. This is y'all's moment. And you're not going to get another one. This is it. This is going to decide whether you go forward or backwards right here. I'm telling y'all right now. Y'all never, you know, the problem with y'all is y'all never listen to us. When y'all going to listen to us, man?
They don't want to. They don't want to hear it from us. They don't want to hear from us because it burns even more that they have to hear it from us. They know what it is. They know that it's true because you hear it in their lies, in the way they frame their lies so specifically, so narrow. You know that they know what the truth is, but instead they double down on the bullshit. And yo, look at this whole SSD situation. So
that's crazy.
There are SSDs that the tech community always suspected when Sony put out this certification list. These SSDs would probably be on the list. Now, we know these SSDs aren't on the list because there is no list, right? But the same SSDs that people suspected are the ones that are most likely to work. The Samsung 980 Pro, which I'm telling you now, do not buy that one in particular. There are specific issues with that drive in particular. My boy PK just built a monster rig that must have cost him $5,000 plus, right? He has multiple SSDs. He bought 3. He was planning to get the Samsung until the last second. I don't even know specifically what was wrong anymore because I don't bother to remember. But suffice to say, whatever the problem was, it was bad enough. If you're a PlayStation fan and you do one day get an SSD, despite me wanting you not to try it right now with this beta firmware, don't buy the Samsung. But anyway, there's the Western Digital 850. There's the Sabrent. There's a couple of other brands. The Samsung that got officially announced by Samsung. If any drive is gonna be on whatever list from Sony, it must be this Samsung. Not Samsung, Seagate, because as soon as the word came out about the firmware dashboard update, that Seagate came out and said this drive will work on the PS5, right? But yet and still, look at the fine print from Sony. Certain games may not work. And if it doesn't work, they suggest that you copy the game back to the internal drive to play it anyway. So what the freak is the purpose of an external drive if you can't even guarantee every game works? It's such to a bad degree that maybe one day you'll find the drive where 99% of games work, but it will be like 4 or 5 games that don't work for whatever reason. And just because bad luck loves to stab you at the right time to make it feel all the worse, it'll probably be 4 or 5 of the top games that define the platform. And those will be the games that don't work on an external SSD. And you're going to feel extra stupid because I know you feel stupid already because I see it in your lies. I see it how you love to cover up and speak over us and try to clown all the time. We know what's up. So wait till that happens. That's going to be ridiculous.
Earlier, right? I was on Tech Show, right? And some of the stuff that he was telling me, I couldn't even believe. It's hard to believe it. Yo, Emmanuel A1 just said, y'all brothers killing this ish tonight. Always love to hear SLIKSLAYER give us the tech breakdowns. Rest in peace, Patrice O'Neal. Exactly.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Pure comedy, man. Original. Patrice O'Neal. Those are the originals. Those are the dudes that went to the adversities of being comedians like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
From
When you see Bill Burr today, when you see Bill Burr today, that's his most loyal friend. There's a documentary that's out about Patrice O'Neal right now. Bill Burr is the reason that's out, trying to get the name of his friend out there because he spoke the truth every day to his own detriment. But I'd rather go out like that.
I like how you did that. I like how you put yourself to that, because really, man, people have a lot of respect for you, Tech, as far as you, SLIKSLAYER and Tech, as far as y'all putting out the technological aspects of things, because Tech does it differently. He does it with the comedy. You do it with the seriousness. But I know both of y'all, and y'all both make sense to me. Like
Tech is hilarious. Oh my God.
Man, when he was doing his show, right, and he's parodying it, right, he's clowning it, but you got to pay attention to Tech, because even in his comedy, he's telling you things, right? So I'm sitting here saying to myself, this dude is really telling me that even when they're beta testing this thing, or even when they buy it, let's just say when they buy it, Sick, you can't make this up.
No.
You don't even know if it's going to work with the firmware. Look, even after the fact, when it gets pushed to everyone, you still don't know if this SSD that you bought will work.
You gotta wait for Digital Foundry and all the tech guys to go out there, buy the drives, and test them for you to see what's up.
Sick. Audience, I don't think y'all. I think I went over y'all's head, because Sick started talking real quick after that. Sick, look, man. Look, listen to this, Sick. If I buy the SSD, it's not Sick. It's not even a beta. Dude, they're lying right there. Okay, a beta to me, right, would be, all right, I'm doing something. I'm experiencing something to give back some type of feedback, right? When you beta test something, you're testing something to show there's things that are right and there's things that are wrong that are happening, right?
Yep.
Now, how can you beta test something if it doesn't work? Sick, I'm trying to understand. If it doesn't work, is that the beta test? Oh, it doesn't work. So you're gonna let them know your chip not your chip, your SSD don't work. So how do you beta test it? Because you gotta do something. You gotta
try it. It's the scientific method. You gotta pop it in and try it and see what happens. But hey, if it blows up your PlayStation 5, you know what Sony's gonna tell you? You know what Sony's gonna tell you? Kick rocks. Buying a PS5.
Now, Sick, they don't believe you. All right? They don't believe you. All right?
Okay. Don't believe me. Don't believe me. Oh, because I've been wrong this whole time. You know, you've been wrong. Technoblast has been wrong. Future Generation's been wrong. Blue Nahigro has been wrong on Twitter. All these great people have been wrong. Right.
Yo, Sick, I want to let everybody know this right now. Note that none of these have been personally tested yet.
None.
So we cannot say for sure that they will be compatible with the current beta firmware. Come on. Yo, you know what, y'all?
This is in the documentation officially from Sony. From Sony.
I don't know a bigger okie doke, like the Looney Tunes, Merry Melodies used to say, when Daffy Duck used to say, a sucker is born every day, right? I don't know if y'all are about to prove that to the entire gaming industry, but y'all have a decision to make. We're looking at y'all. Everybody's looking at y'all. This is going to come down to your integrity as a gamer. So, at the end of the day, you got to tell yourself, is it worth it? Are y'all going to finally tell Sony to get it together, stop shamming you, stop long polling you? Come on, man. Like, y'all got to have some kind of sense. I know there's some good PlayStation gamers out there because some of them are my friends. I know some of them.
Shout out to Cali Rex.
Good PlayStation. They're not going for this. But y'all
Dark Optimus just said that tonight. He's not going for it either.
Facts. Y'all have been such a fake community that the real ones have been overrun by too many of you lames.
Yeah.
The real PlayStation guys and girls, they don't have a voice.
The PlayStation community is personified by the crap gamers and the J-Dub. Exactly. Yeah, by the you can't name me a prominent positive PlayStation fan. You cannot. I can't. Except for CaliRex. And that's only because that's the dude I know, you know, I podcasted with. We've spoken about games and stuff together. It's the only reason why. I do not know one. Name one in the chat. Name one in the chat, folks. Give me one PlayStation fan who's not like all these other crap dudes, man. I can't. I want to. And listen, folks, like I've always said, maybe Legal will never get a PlayStation 5. But I've always told you, I want one. Bro. But not like this. Big Cloud, he good dude, but he was also the same dude. I was on the show with CaliRex, and this is not no shade. Go check out CaliRex's channel. Me, Big Cloud, and CaliRex was on the show, and I was explaining to him the difference between a hack and a DDoS attack, and he demonstrated what a DDoS attack was so well by over-speaking me so much I couldn't even get the facts out. And that's ironically exactly what a DDoS attack is. When you flood a server with so many requests that it can't hear legitimate requests. Remember a couple years ago when Xbox Live and PlayStation Network and on the Nintendo Online and Steam were all down because of the Lizard Squad?
Right.
They didn't hack anything. That was a DDoS attack. When I was on a podcast explaining that, Big Cloud would speak over me so much I couldn't even get that out. And that's a good guy. But he also demonstrated what a DDoS attack was. And he's a PlayStation fan. I'm not talking shit. I'm talking facts. If you don't believe me, go look up the episode. Go look up our 3 names and you'll find it right here on YouTube. And you'll see I never got that point out. And this is what these PlayStation fans do. They talk garbage so the facts don't come to light.
Right.
So when I come
facts, bro,
right.
They're sensitive. They because it's what I've always said. They have invested heavily in their feelings.
That bit I don't know. I've heard the name, but I've never heard his content or anything like that. So I can't speak on him.
Big Cloud, some SSDs. I want to read off some SSDs, and y'all tell me, does this make any sense? I'm gonna shorten it up. The WD Black SN850, right? 1 terabyte, all right, without heatsink, $200. CK Firecuda 530, the one y'all were seeing today, 1 terabyte, without heatsink, $240. Matrix Viper VP 4300, 1 terabyte, $242. PNY XLR8, 1 terabyte, $157. Ice
Me too, Fire. Me too.
Graphene coating copper. That's the only one with a heat sink. Oh, heat sink is an added $10 for that. That's the heat sink is $10 for that. Dude, these SSDs with no heat sinks, that makes no sense to me. Like, that's defeating the purpose. Why would you even put that out there like that?
Well, on the PC, that's not so much of a problem. You know, the PC case, because I have an SSD right now. I have the Western Digital 750, and I bought the model without a heatsink.
But I'm talking about for the PlayStation 5.
But for the PlayStation 5, because those drives aren't made for the PlayStation 5. They're just SSDs. Normally intended for PCs, but whatever device can use an SSD.
Okay, makes sense.
That's what I was saying from the beginning. This is what PlayStation is doing prepared. Right. These are standard SSDs.
No, facts.
But you need one with a heatsink because of that little slot they put it in with no room for breathing. And everybody knew that from the moment they showed it off. Everybody knew that.
No, I got it now. That was my era. I was mistaking that those were actual PlayStation 5 SSDs, but there are
none.
They were PC compatible SSDs that could work in there, but that's why they didn't have the heat sink to them. Got you.
Yep.
I got you. Makes a lot
of
sense.
But here's the thing. And this is what I tweeted earlier this
afternoon. I want to make this clear.
Yes.
Real quick. Goes to show you that Sony doesn't even have an SSD.
No, they don't.
So why is everybody poking fun at Microsoft for theirs? That's theirs.
Hey, Like I said, these PlayStation fanboys, they just sit here and say
That's
crap
stupid.
just because.
Right.
Just
Go
because
ahead,
they
Sid.
do. Okay, so here's the thing
We
I
narrowing
tweeted
it
earlier.
down, Sid. We narrowing it
Okay,
down.
what Sony should have done, if they wanted to go this route where they don't make their own SSDs and they let the people and companies who are expert in that, Western Digital, Seagate, Samsung, what have you, right? That's a good plan to go with, right? But what they should have did was have a certification program where they get these drives from these manufacturers and they test it themselves and they give it the stamp of approval and have it on the list. But instead of doing that, they're making you do it and you're paying them for the privilege. And it may not even work. And when it doesn't work, and let's just say it doesn't work and it doesn't harm your system or anything, you're still out of money and you got to go return it, have it refunded, and wait till some of these retailers get hip to what people are doing, where they buy drives intended for PS5, and when they try to return it because they say, oh, it didn't work for a PS5, and they refuse to refund your money. What you gonna do then? With these, as you claim, and it's not true because these drives are expensive by default, these expensive SSDs. Don't get the tech twisted. This is expensive tech. A 850 1 terabyte is $200 without the heatsink. Okay? Remember, these weren't intended for the PlayStation per se. That's just the price of the drive. The Xbox drive is basically $200, right? Or $220 actually, I think it was, right? That's the standard price if you bought an SSD for the PC. I bought a 1 terabyte PCIe Gen 3 drive, the Western Digital 750 I mentioned earlier without the heatsink. That cost me $200. And that's PCI Gen 3, not Gen 4 like the PlayStation requires. So those cost more. Okay? What you gonna do if if the retailer that you bought it from doesn't want to refund your money if it didn't work? Like, all Sony had to do was work with these manufacturers to have a stamp of approval on their box that says certified to work with the PS5, right? It'll have the heatsink. The heatsink won't be too big where it can't fit the slot, whatever. So you can just go, you see the logo on the box, or maybe there's a list on the PlayStation website like they claimed they were going to do. That's all they had to do, but they didn't do it. Why? I don't know. It makes no sense. That's the one thing of all of this stuff that Sony has been doing that doesn't make sense. When they saw that they had to overclock the chip to make it somewhat closer to Xbox, that's one thing. When half the chips don't work for that, that's one thing. But why didn't you step back and improve your cooling at that point? That makes no sense. That's where Sony totally screwed up. I don't get it. Makes no sense. Like, what benefit is it to put your hands over your ears and go la 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 and ignore it and think it's gonna go away? Problems don't go away when you ignore them. They get bigger and badder, and then they blow up in your face like a hand grenade. And that's exactly what happened this morning. Everybody's having the same reaction, except for the same typical fanboys making excuses. Everybody else in the gaming community is of one mind on this. That Sony effed the hell up big time. And it wasn't today they screwed up. It was way back when they originally made this choice over a year ago. And I'm not trying to pat myself in the back, but I've been calling this out before the PlayStation 5 came out, and I wasn't the only one. I don't understand how anyone could be this blatantly stupid. And then even more so, I can't believe how anybody could sit there and co-sign it, because your ego can't reconcile bad choices. Like, holy shit. I have nothing else I can really say on this because it makes no sense. No sense at all legal.
You can't
I don't.
defend this, man. You cannot
It's
defend this.
undefendable.
Yeah.
Undefensible. Absolutely.
You can't do it. I don't care what anybody thinks, says. You can't. It's just this is right here is going to show everybody what the PlayStation community is made of. I mean, really, we're watching, so this is it. But you know,
oh yeah, one last thing.
Go ahead.
We have seen that they have these PlayStation 5s that are supposedly lighter and whatnot. Hopefully, they've got a new revision that addresses at least some.
But you know what's sick? Who cares?
I can't even. Bro. Who cares? Well, those people who are still waiting on a PS5 will probably care big time because that's what they would have to be waiting on. I'm not buying
it. Sick. That's the other lie. Sick.
Yeah, because I'm not buying a PS5 unless they fix this. No way. It's not worth it.
They just told everybody that these consoles are going to be hard to get even throughout the 2022 year.
It's a wrap.
You gotta pay attention to Sony, right? What was the first thing they said? Because they knew this was going to happen. This is what I'm talking about, people. Sony knew this was going to happen, okay? The thing is, they'll lie until the cover gets blown. Just like this SSD, not having VRR and all this stuff. They knew they wasn't going to have that stuff. All right? They knew it. But what did they say in the beginning? What was the first cover-up? They focused the attention on the PlayStation 4, didn't they? They say for the next 3 years, we're going to do what? The next 3 years, we are going to do what? With the
multi-platform, cross-gen.
There you go.
Cross-gen games.
Why do you think they said that? Why do you think they said that? They went from, oh, we're going to get away from the PlayStation 4. We're going to put out the PlayStation 5. We're only going to make games for the PlayStation 5 because we believe in generations. Remember that? See, that's when their chest was out. That's when it was too early to catch the lie. That's how they sound. But
that's how these PlayStation fanboys get their rhetoric from. That one little drop they put and they'll run with that for ages.
Right. But when they can no longer hide from it, they change up. So when they realize, damn, we really don't have nobody playing that Astro Bot and all this, you know, they're not this pandemic's got the PlayStation 5 on lockdown. We got the scalpers. We got too many things going against us. We better hurry up and do something before our cover is blown. So what do? You know, we're gonna put games on the PlayStation 4. We believe in cross generations. So you lied. So when you open that Pandora box, you knew to go ahead and say this. We're just going to go ahead and ride with the PlayStation 4 for the next 3 years. So what's the next 3 years, people? Early 2024 or all of 2023. And in doing that, the PlayStation 5 is going to be hard to find throughout. You might as well hang it up for 2022. So it's perfect. So 2023 is when they feel is the right time to cut off the PlayStation 4 and start totally focusing on the PlayStation 5. Now, I want
conspiracy theory time. Conspiracy theory time. I think that's finally when the PS5 will be working the way it was intended to, or a PS5 Pro.
Now, watch
or a PS5 Pro.
Facts. Now, watch this. Look at how Microsoft handled their consoles. Microsoft came right out the gate and said, we're discontinuing the Xbox One. We're discontinuing the Xbox One X. We're discontinuing the Xbox One S, but we're keeping the digital. You're going to have the digital form. That's the one that we're going to still keep, right? So the one that was just digital is the only one that's not being discontinued. You can still buy that if you can, if you can. I mean, you pretty much can't now. But that was the one that was still on the market, they said. Everything else was going to get discontinued. And what did they say? We're going to focus only on what? The Xbox Series S and X. Because why? Because we are fully integrating ourselves into next generational content. Microsoft didn't back down from that at all. You see the difference? This is why our games stayed on Xbox a little bit, but now you see that the games that are coming out, what are they saying? Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S. Unless you have these consoles, you're not playing this game. See what I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
they're moving forward while Sony has to stay attached to their past. Now, understand, this wasn't their first option. That's their second or third option. See,
Yes.
Microsoft has been stuck on their first option from the gate. I want everybody to understand the difference is this is why you see the things that are happening. Sony is a cover-up type company. Microsoft is a transparent company. The reason why
Always.
Microsoft has to be transparent because they're the deadly octopus. They have so many arms out here and partners. They got deep partnerships. All right. So they're cool with a whole lot of companies. They can't be out here lying to the public. It's
Right.
not a good look for them to do that.
Nope.
See what I'm saying? Sony doesn't have a lot of deep partnerships like Microsoft does. So they come out here lying, get caught, get sued. Come out here lying, get caught, get sued. Every year we hear something about Sony getting we won't make it out of this year, I bet you. Sony gets sued about something. Watch. You know what I'm saying? It's just crazy.
It'll
man.
probably be about the DualSense controller.
Yeah,
It'll probably be that.
It'll be something like this. But that's
or the SSD thing. Yeah.
And even though they didn't want to believe us, the Xbox community is looking so beautiful now because now the realities are proven in our talks. We don't have to sit out here. We don't have to make these shows debatable shows anymore. Remember, I watched y'all do it. I used to sit back and laugh and be like, man, who gets into this? Who does debatable shows? This is corny. When we all know really who's who. Microsoft was pushing cloud compute. Sony was messing around with some generic rental service.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? And they were talking about, oh, we use the cloud too. No. Y'all don't use the cloud like Xbox uses the cloud. As a matter of fact, Xbox now is a cloud. It's not just a console anymore. It is a cloud. You see what I'm saying? It's on tablets. It's everywhere. Wow, it's killing them that they got to go to PC, but their fan base doesn't do too well with supporting. So you lost that war with PC. Now y'all got to go to PC. So you're catching L's everywhere, the donkey community. When y'all gonna stop being jackasses and man
I don't
up,
know.
Right? You go to man up, go to Sony, let them know where they messing up at. Tell them this is unacceptable. We're not beta testing this thing. Y'all beta test it. We ain't beta testing nothing. Y'all better test this situation, get this beta out of the way, put it out here and let us know that we're ready to go. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is crazy that you would even okie doke your community and like we say it. And when Sony okie dokes their community, they do it in broad daylight.
They do it in broad daylight, and then the community says, "Thank you. May we have more?" Fact. They really do.
They don't say thank you. Can we have more? They say, y'all have refills?
Yep.
Don't even say thank you. They ask, is there any refills? And Sony says, yeah, sure. And they go and get refills. And then they come out here and want to attack us. What are you attacking us for? We're playing games. You said we don't have no games. That died this week. So now what do y'all got? No SSD,
it was never true. It was never true before, but this week killed that narrative. Killed that narrative dead.
Dead.
Stopped it out.
Sick. It will never rise again, bro. There's
stop this already. That day dead. Gone. Yeah, but let me show you what a real community does. I hope y'all are watching the chat. Shout out to Wario64 on Twitter.
If you don't follow him, man, I let Sick talk tonight, y'all. Man, I let this man talk tonight.
You don't follow this dude, you should, because he posts a lot of deals and stuff. And right now, Newegg has a deal for the SSD drive for $186.99 with a code. You pop in that code on Newegg, you can get the drive for far less than what these SSDs that they want you to test on the Ps5 cost. You're welcome. Heatsink built in, hot swappable. You could download a bunch of games that your friend doesn't have because his internet isn't as fast as yours. You pull out your system, you take it to your friend's house, plug it into their system, copy the games into their drive. That simply. Can't do that with the PlayStation. I mean, technically you could with a USB hard drive, but how long is that going to take you? A spinning Rust is not fast. That's the whole point of an SSD. You choose. I hope you like how, this internet is trying to save you some money, because that's what the community likes to do. Unlike Sony. Just saying.
I hear you. I hear you loud and clear, bro. This is just, I don't even know what else to say, man. There ain't nothing else to say.
Not really.
This is straight up pathetic, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's a disgrace, man, and it shouldn't be tolerated. I mean, we who we are, but I don't understand why y'all just won't listen sometimes. I'm not here to be a hater to y'all, man. It's just crazy how y'all sit up here and drink that Kool-Aid, man, like y'all do. It's unreal. I've never seen a level of stupidity like this at a no gaming community, man. Y'all top it. Y'all have a chance, man, to rectify. I mean, y'all just do. I don't know what else to say, but
take the example of what happened with Xbox Live when they tried to double the price. Take the example. We all stood up as a community, and it wasn't just the Xbox community. It was all of the gaming community in general. We all said the same thing, and Microsoft listened. Do the same thing to Sony, okay? Because PlayStation is one of the only divisions that actually makes them money. They need PlayStation to be successful, to be alive as a company. Trust me, they will listen to you. They will listen to you. If you let them rape you for money, they will keep doing it.
You're right. Tell them the truth, Sid.
It's that simple. There's nothing else I really can say on that.
It's up to y'all. It's up to y'all. We're going to get out of here. We got our SSD, built-in heat sink technology, built-in all future-proof, all feature-proof, coexisting with harmony when we plug it into our console. It's like a baby. It's like it is our SSD chip is Xbox. It is Xbox. Just put it like that. It is Xbox. We're not getting a third-party chip. It's not none of that. Or card. It's none of that. It's Xbox. So when I put it in, it is what it is by Seagate. Thank you, Seagate. Appreciate Microsoft for making top-notch quality. Top-notch quality, man.
All around.
You really did it this generation. You won. You know, that's another thing, Sid, before I go. Xbox community, you won already. You won.
This is what victory looks like.
There isn't no war. There isn't none of that. We won. We won.
This is what victory looks like.
The reason why it doesn't look like you won, because we don't have a media to push that narrative.
Exactly.
But we won. It's as
we
clear
won
as
already.
day.
Yeah.
I don't have to have the media to tell me I won. I got two eyes. I can see it.
This is what victory looks like, folks. This is what I was saying last night, and that's exactly why.
This is what victory looks like as Xbox gamers. No, we don't have a parade. We don't have firecrackers. We don't have articles saying, "Yay!" We don't have that.
But it might feel a little off. It might feel a little off because the press don't want to talk about it. But this is what victory looks like.
Right. This is what it looks like. This is what it looks like. So just suck it up, enjoy it, because this is the best you're going to get it right here. They're going to play this off.
Absolutely.
They're going to play this off. They're not going to give Xbox no credit, man. So Xbox is going to keep pounding them. And look, it took Xbox to get it right for the gaming community and the media to start talking like they got sense out here. See, that's all it took. It just took for Xbox to get it right. Think about that, y'all. They joked about everything, but everything is doing what it's supposed to do over here. Shouts to the Ascent for dropping today. Shouts to Flight Simulator for dropping 2 days ago.
The Ascent.
Shouts to Death's Door that dropped last week. And we're still bombing. We still got games coming out that are going to be exclusive to Xbox. And you know what? That snowball ain't stopping, y'all.
Got the Halo bait.
Nightmare has arrived. That nightmare is called Xbox success. Shouts to everybody for the first time for giving me a super chat donation. Very first time ever. This show is very special to me. Shout out to everybody that did that. I know who y'all are. I'm humble to the core. I'm a humble person, man. The meek shall inherit the earth, man. This ain't about pride. This isn't about ego. This life is about respect. It's about respecting people, respecting others, but most importantly, respect for yourself. Because if you can't respect yourself, you can't respect other people. And that's the center focus and the core of Di-RRec Gaming. Di-RRec Gaming was built to respect the gamer, to respect the Xbox gamer, to build some infrastructure for the streets of Xbox to come up in here and spit their game. You know what I'm saying? Spit their game. That's that language I'm talking about. We don't talk YouTube here. We're not YouTubers. We're gamers. We just so happen to have a YouTube platform. That's it. That's it. We just stumbled around, you know, turned the corner, and it just so happened to be a YouTube corner. That's all it was. And we parked our cars and got out and went to the park, sat on a bench. We shoot some free throws or whatever. We talk gaming. That's all we're doing, man. So I want to appreciate everybody that came out tonight. I don't even like doing this, but it is what it is. You like what we do? You like what we're about, right? You like how we get down? Subscribe to the channel. Grow truth over feelings. And that goes to everybody out there in the underground circuit, just like me. Don't give up. Keep putting out that real content. You know, everybody needs encouragement. Keep putting out that real content. Don't give up on that. Don't worry about if nobody puts a like on your stuff. Don't worry about if you don't get a lot of views. That's not what a real gamer is here for. You're here because you like gaming. You're here because you're passionate and you like doing this. Don't let YouTube cloud your sense and your integrity as a gamer. Don't compromise that. Don't do that. Be yourself. Hit that notification bell. Don't miss out on any of the realness. Di-RRec Gaming is one of the greatest things that ever happened. You don't want to miss out on that. Plus, you know what I'm saying? We send out millions of dollars to everybody that hits that like button. Everybody. It's not a lot of $1 million right now because there's a lot of people that don't believe in it, but it's true. So make sure you hit that like button. You get that $1 million in your mailbox. I'm telling you. Also, leave some comments below. We like to see the comments. That's why we love the chat. I made it to the chat. I love this, man. Shout out to the mighty chat room. Y'all know how much y'all mean to me, man. Shout out to SLIKSLAYER. Shout out to Techno Blast today. These two guys wanted to put their opinions out there. Sick killed me today because I didn't think he was going to be long-winded. He got me. Sick, you owe me. Sick, you owe me. But Sick's beautiful, man. He has to put it out there. When you got somebody that just you gotta let him go, man. You gotta let people like Sick go and let him do his thing. You know what I'm saying? So I'm appreciative that he feels comfortable having me as a guest. Because really, I was a guest tonight. So I learned some things, Sick. And I'll go back listening to this show. Because I literally learned some things tonight, man. So I appreciate you. And appreciate everybody that continuously gives us support.
You're quite welcome. You're quite welcome. And thanks to everybody in the chat. This is what we do, you know. We talk games, you know. I don't like to keep knowledge to myself because knowledge to myself is worthless, you know. You gotta spread that knowledge out. You can't let people who don't know what's going on to be tricked into bad situations, into bad choices because they didn't know better. When you know better and you could have prevented it and did something about it. And that's the way I like to operate. So we just out here, we spreading knowledge. That's what I like to do. So thanks for coming out. I appreciate everybody.
Keep doing it, Sick. I appreciate you, man. Let them know where they can find you at, Sick, so we can get out of here.
Well, you can follow me on Twitter. I'm close to 500 subs. I'd love to see that, get to 500 pretty soon. You can find me on GRG tomorrow night. You can find me on the Dragon's Den every 6 p.m. every Saturday. Or we're gonna go in tomorrow on GRG and on the Dragon's Den on Saturday. Rest assured. But yeah, you can check me out on those two platforms, and you can definitely check me out on Twitter.
Well, there y'all have it. Y'all know where y'all gonna find me at. Sitting on my porch on Di-RRec Gaming, chilling, getting phone calls from the streets, doing what I do. Because the streets have spoken. Remember, keep it gaming, y'all. Chase that one up in life. This has been the New Legal, representing Di-RRec Gaming, representing the Xbox community, the #1 gaming community in the history of gaming, the greatest, the green team, green gamma green team. Yo, there's no one better. We are next generation. So we talk and move as such. It is what it is. The family of the RDNA 2.0 console family is here. We arrived. We ain't going nowhere. Till next time, y'all. See y'all soon. Peace.